begin with an R.
Okay, now we should be online. Please
Right.
God work. Please God work.
Is the stream working?
Oh?
It's on.
Hey!
Yes! Oh my god.
We're here.
Yeah.
Guys, we went through such a headache
Yeah,
just now.
baby.
Someone had
That's been
changed
there
the
for
stream
us from
key,
Fun
and I don't know how, but we're here. Hello!
Did it.
Thank you for
Hello.
appearing.
Yeah, hey guys.
Hello.
So, okay, round of introductions to the few people that don't know us yet. Hi,
Yes.
I'm Guy, one of the founders of CRS.
I
I
am.
just finished an animation degree, currently looking for a job in the animation and or games industry. And I am a big fan of RWBY and cool animations.
I am Drengade. I am the other original creator of Pitch. I forgot how he introduced himself. I do many things in the group. I do modeling, I do rigging, I do concept art and other art. I fill in gaps where other people aren't around. I don't really animate that much, but hopefully that'll change. Yeah. Who next?
Warlord, Cosmo, one of you.
I was not aware of that. Oops. Hello, I am Warlord. I'm a human person. Do modeling. It goes burr. I'm very. I haven't been part of Combat Ready Studios for long, but I am here and I'm queer. There we go.
You've been here for like a year.
It
Warlord
doesn't feel
speaks
like that,
our
wrong,
sex.
Guy. I don't know how to speak. I'm sorry.
Cosmo?
Oh, hello. My name is Cosmo Galaxy, and I on CRS. Can't spell.
Common affliction among the human
Yeah,
race.
none of us can spell, that's why we're creatives.
We will hopefully be joined later by a fifth member of our group, but considering for him it is currently 6 in the morning, and he had a concert yesterday, it's not surprising he is probably sleeping into our
The
time.
music man
Yes,
must
he is
get
a
his
man.
beauty rest.
He's a musical god.
Yeah, oh my
He's not-
god,
he's not
he is.
music
It's not an
and he's not
exaggeration.
post-production.
Yes. Yeah,
So
he's our sound department, our music department, our post-production department. Not that he is part of those departments, he is those departments.
yes.
He also has a stranglehold on the fart department.
We'll get to that
We'll get
if
to
we get to the right point. Right, with the exception of Warlord, the models we are using are actually Pitch characters. You'll have seen my one before. It's Pitch. If you've seen the Steel trailer, you probably recognize him. Guy is currently using a model based off of Guild, who is the leader of our sister team.
Hi, I'm Guild. Not really.
Yes. Then in the middle, Cosmo. She is currently a character who you haven't seen, and you probably won't actually see for a reasonable while. But hopefully, you will hear her much sooner
No,
because.
there's gonna be
Do you want to take
images.
this, Cosmo?
There's gonna be images.
Okay, I
They'll
was
see
doing
her.
that for
Oh, sorry. Cosmo, sorry.
Cosmo. Do you want to take this?
Oh, you want me to like tell
Yes.
tell him about her?
Yes.
Okay, so this model is like the chibi version of a character named Solera White Streak, and she's basically a fucking powerhouse. I'm not exaggerating because they told me how built she is, and I love that. And this is basically a scaled down version of her. The actual thing is so much more gorgeous. You're gonna love her if you see her when you see her.
Yeah, and we're actually going to be showing some of the concept art because it's too tempting. Yeah, well, basically we're working on an audio drama with some images that is like a prequel to the next character trailer, the Mask trailer, and kind of fleshes out just Tanger's backstory. Very, very messy backstory. And Solera is a character in that, and Solera is fucking awesome. I'm so excited. Like I've been unable to work on this audio drama for ages because I've been just have so much stuff going on. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll actually be able to finish it within the next maybe couple months. Is it too optimistic to say couple months? I'll say it anyway.
If we say it, we might keep to the schedule this time.
Yeah, and
I mean, it's better to have hope than none at all.
yeah, true.
Yeah.
Also,
We
Warlords,
have had a very busy last few months, which is why progress on a lot of our more sort of obvious projects have slowed in exchange for other random videos.
me and a few other people made a whole ass short film, which we'll be uploading to the channel soon. Completely unrelated to RWBY. It was like actually my university final project, and that ate up all my time for a few months. And after that, I had to do a solo final project at uni. So that ate up the rest of my time.
And then on the other hand, I was doing the Stark video for quite a while, and then later, well, just before this actually, the advert I made for Summer of RWBY with Weiss at the beach. Guy provided a lot of help with that, but the modeling took a while.
Oh yeah. Also we forgot to describe actually Warlord's character, who is the only one that isn't actually related to Pitch whatsoever. But like,
Yes, they're a RWBY character, but they're in no way related at all. See, due to me being one of the more recent, I guess you would call it, members of Pitch, well, Combat Ready Studios, but whatever. I don't really know many of the characters all too well. So I was just like, here, I have a 3D model of this character I made for like RWBY stuff, and you can do that for mine. So my person's Corey Garcia. They are human. Well, actually, yeah.
they're faunus, right?
Both faunus, yes. Which actually it doesn't exist because she is a girl, so she is cow faunus. But you know.
Oh God, you're right.
Who'd ever admit that?
I never considered that. I just took bull faunus just like for granted. You're right.
I'm surprised how quickly I was able to knock out these models, actually. And Corey took an annoyingly long time because she's got so many mechanical bits.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I think they look good. Like, all of them. I don't care what you say.
Oh, they look so good.
They look fucking fantastic. Like, mwah.
Look, Dren drew
the way you don't... the way you somehow make really banger shit and then also don't rest is just like,
well, the way you don't, the way you don't dress is actually kind of a problem. Let's not
like that's an easy way to get burnout. But I respect the grind. I do.
Oh, I avoid burnout by working on about 7 different things at once.
I don't know. Like what? What is the logic?
King.
That's not.
If I get burned out on one thing, I move to another thing. It's how it works.
No, that's not how that works. That's
That is how that works.
Faster.
Listen, as I've come to learn, it doesn't work for anybody but Will.
Right.
He has a superpower or something. That's his semblance.
The plan. Well, I'm like Ironwood now, am I?
Yes, your semblance
yeah.
is.
You have a massive semblance.
Yeah, your apparently your semblance is weaponized neurodivergence.
Yes. Right. So the plan for today is to have a look at some of our videos that we have already posted, probably the Steel trailer because it is the one thing actually related to Pitch that we have put out so far, and maybe 1 or 2 others, go through how we made them. And then we're actually, hopefully, going to give you a bit of a look at the behind the scenes. Some of our actual Blender files and images and various other things, which Guy has been painstakingly collecting from across our semi-organized, but still with some bits that have not been updated in several months, database.
Yeah. Also,
and sorted other computers.
Also, sneak peek at upcoming stuff. You guys will like this. Oh, I'm so excited to get to this.
It's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be woohoo.
Well then, let's start with the Seal trailer, shall we?
Yes, and if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat and we will try and answer them.
Yes.
In the chat.
Put your
then.
questions for the young travelers, and we'll
Yes,
let
Violet
baby
Embers,
give
I did
them a
say
look.
in one of the other things, well, the only other thing I've done for summer on here, the main reason why I can keep going and working on all this stuff and actually improving how I can do art is because I am obsessed with what I am doing.
Yeah, I think we kind of all run on obsession. That's kind of our thing.
Yeah. When I started working on pitch, I couldn't model, I couldn't draw, I definitely couldn't animate or rig or various other things like that. I've started from complete scratch.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know how
Right.
to animate when we started in the slightest.
No, you did a
If it makes you feel
university
better,
course.
I can't do any of that stuff still.
Gee.
So
You did a university course in animating. I learned to model while I should have been doing a university course in something else. I was in lectures modeling while I shouldn't have been.
That is very fair. Anyway,
And I
so
I passed that
by the way-
course pretty well, actually.
so for this one, when we did a stream, like we already did a stream shortly after we released the Steel trailer, and like so where we basically broke it down in a lot of detail. Now we only have less than 2 hours and a lot more stuff to get through, so we won't go into as much detail. We'll try and just pause less and talk less. But if you guys want like a full breakdown with all the little Easter eggs and all the little fun facts, you can check out our last stream on CRS, our own channel, not on SMMR of RWBY. But yeah, hopefully we'll still hit the highlights here. Is everyone ready?
You'll be able to recognize our other channel because it has the same logo as we have at the bottom right of the screen right now.
Yeah.
So
See, that one's name is Gary. He's come from many places, far and wide.
I have no idea what you just said, but that's par for the course.
Yes, nonsense is my specialty.
Anyway, let's get started.
yeah, we know.
It's difficult to have a conversation with you without knowing. Anyway,
Right, let's
sorry.
just get going.
Enough being mean. Enough being mean. Yes. Luca made this thing, like this logo, in like an afternoon.
Yeah. We basically he sent us a sketch of the logo and then made the animation in like an hour.
Also, real quick, this quote. No one keeps commenting on this quote. It's very sad. We put so much effort into making it.
I've heard people respond.
I've seen like one person respond. I really liked what they said. It was a really nice
Bear in mind,
theory.
Guy, we are getting the visuals off the stream. You are getting the visuals off your end, which is much earlier.
Oh shit. That's fuck. I guess I'll just be in charge of pausing it.
Yeah.
No,
I have
actually-
also muted the stream so I can actually not hear my
Actually,
own
that
Yeah,
voice.
so have I.
Actually, that is actually a problem. Fuck. What do we do? Okay, you
Might
know what?
just watch through it all, and then if there's an area we want to talk about, we'll scroll back to it.
I think I'll
You can be
just
in charge of
I'll
that.
stream it on Discord. That'll do it. You guys will be able to see it. Let me just
Okay.
test this. Sorry guys, it's taking a little bit. Okay. I recommend.
Guy is now doing 2 streams, so hopefully it does not overpower his computer.
Okay.
2 streams at the same time?
Fingers crossed.
Okay. Can you guys see this now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Fantastic. Well then, yeah. Just ready.
It would overpower my internet connection, so it's a good thing I'm
So,
not the one who's streaming this.
Love this. Yeah, I really love this opening. Like this whole blue moon to orange fire thing was like one of the first ideas I had for this. And oh, this animation did not wage well. This was one of my first animations. Ugh.
Yeah. And
Sure,
I'm annoyed that
I mean, I can't tell it's dated, but it still looks good.
Young Pitch had some awful shadows in his eye, which I see every single time we see that scene.
Actually, with the aura thing, I'll leave. Remember the aura activation. That'll come back later.
We'll discuss that later.
Yep. The bullets float up. The bullets did not work very well in this one.
It's the classic case of going back to looking at something you made a few years ago and thinking how awful it all
God,
is.
I mean, even back then, I
Yep.
couldn't fix the bullets. But still, I think looking back at this, like there's a lot of mistakes, but it looks nice. Like there is no
Yeah,
frame that
it still looks badass.
like I never really look at it and think, oh, this looks ugly. It just, some of it doesn't look as good as it could, but I think
Yeah, it's like the little nitpicks.
Pitch was
and
the
all.
first 3D model I had made in Blender, and the first 3D model I had made for a good 5 years. I'd completely forgotten because the program I used to use was completely different from anything that's actually used for animation. So I basically learned how to model while making him.
Also,
Why it took me about 6 months.
well, like one big reason why this trailer looks good. I mean, not to discredit all the insane work that we'll put into the shaders and like the visuals, but one of the things like why we were able to pull this off, even though we were fairly inexperienced, was because we used like a very simple color palette inspired by the original RWBY trailers, like the original Red trailer, which was just a strong black and white aesthetic with like a very high contrast, and then other colors sprinkled in, like the red from the knights or the purple from the sword, or just same with Pitch's color palette in general. And I don't. That stuff is just really easy to make look really good.
Yeah.
That's actually one thing about the original RWBY trailers that they did. Like they did that so much. You know, the Red trailer had black and white and red as basically the only colors, but just a little bit of blue in the sky, and it was so visually striking. Like the White trailer had only black and white almost. Well, actually, no, also Weiss's dress.
And then you
had
got
red.
the blood from Weiss's cut, which is the bright red. Yeah,
So,
you can make colors pop a lot in a monochrome scene.
Yeah, like the black trailer was inverted, like it was mostly red, with a little black and white, and it's just and that's the style like that I kind of missed in RWBY. Like RWBY almost never did that again, and I think just even though the animation like they got so much fancier, I don't think things ever looked quite as good as they did in the first 4 trailers. So we really wanted to go back to that, and like any further animation we do, even once we go beyond the trailers, we'll still be taking inspiration from that, because we love that stylized look that really makes the colors pop, and we really want to keep that like a core part of Pitch's aesthetic.
So yeah, it is a bit of advice if you want to start doing your own ones. Working off a very sort of simplistic palette outside of whatever your character's accent color is probably actually a really good place to start.
Yeah.
Because quite often you see in early animations, colors can get quite sort of muddled a bit.
Oh yeah, very easy to muddle your colors.
It was one of the issues I had with the Linen trailer by Silver, was the fact that you had the multiple different colors of all of the cargo containers around, which took away from his color himself, because his color didn't really pop that much in his design.
Yeah, like I say, I mean the Silver trailers had like absolute god tier animation, like they're the gold standard for
animation.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
But like I think the color palette is like, I think one of their weaknesses.
And then there's that.
There's that. Okay, now from something very serious to something very silly.
Can I do something else before we do that?
Yes, do that.
One of the things which we really wanted to get working for the Steel trailer was this colored light stuff. It's not something that you often see in toon shaders, the colors of the light affecting the characters dynamically with multiple colors on them. And I managed to get it in the original shader we have. Unfortunately, our shaders now, though they are much better in almost every regard, the colored light is broken. So I am trying to find ways around that, but it's an ongoing battle because I don't like shading.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
Now from that to something really silly. This sound effect. Listen to the sound effect when he draws his blade. Incredible sound effect, right?
I know where this is going.
Luca made that,
really
and Luca made that. I shit you not, with a fart sound. A fart sound. He took a fart sound and he edited it into that. He's done that multiple times. It's insane. If he told me ahead of time, like, hey, can I use a fart sound for this? I would have said, stop messing around. It has to sound good. So he wisely only told us after he'd already done it. But
we've learned to just let Luca get on with what he's doing, because he's so much
You just learn to
better
trust
at
the
it.
process.
Exactly. It's like, the way you're talking about this sounds insane, but the end result ends up sounding great. So who are we to question you?
You know how Casey was like 14 when she started singing for RWBY? It seems to be a trend that skilled sound people relating to a RWBY project start off young, because when we started working with Luca, which was years and years ago now, he was 14.
Yeah.
He's a couple of years younger than us, and just...
Yeah, like, I think he's 19 now.
He's something like that now, yeah.
He's an effing prodigy.
Yeah, I mean, he was a prodigy. Like, he was a prodigy back then. Like, right now, he's...
Note how we are building him up when he's not here, so when he's here, we can be mean to him.
Nice. Anyway, so you should. Oh, so I'm about. Yep, Paladin's here.
That model was so awful to work with.
Yeah.
I had to rig it. It was a rig I hated.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Also, real quick on the aura thing. Like, remember when I told you about to remember like the aura activation? One thing that has always kind of bothered us about RWBY is how inconsistently the aura is used. Like when you think about it, the aura shield is something. It's really good for a fight scene. It allows you to get hits. The hit still hurts, but you don't actually take damage. So you would think that it's really important for the viewer to always know when is the character's aura up, because that'll define how much danger they're in. Like which characters have aura, which ones don't. With most of them, it's obvious, but there's some gray areas. And then a lot of the time, characters don't actually get hit in painful ways. Like they get kicked and punched, for example, but you don't get something like, yeah, him just getting like headshotted and his aura tanking it. Like we want to really show the aura effect as well, so you can always tell when the aura is doing its thing, and this allows us to be really brutal towards our characters without ever having to actually injure them, and just makes the fight feel more visceral and dangerous, which is just kind of generally a trend in that we did in Steel, and we're going to keep that up in Pitch. Fights are just like a little bit more visceral than they were in RWBY, which in this case, okay, I was criticizing RWBY. This isn't a criticism. It's it's literally just a stylistic difference. But yeah, we want the fights to just feel a bit more dangerous.
Lively.
And I had to work out how to show the aura there, and working out how to get it to respond to certain areas. I haven't done it since Pitch, and I need to remember how I did it for Mask.
Listen, Will, it's okay because now you get to feel like you're gonna die, and Pitch looks like he's about to die.
Yeah, it definitely shows off that this is a heavy hitting battle. Like, look at all, just look at all the. He's taking all this damage. There was a headshot. You definitely feel like, oh god, he is really fighting for his life right now.
Awesome. I'm glad that worked.
Pitch is a very pragmatic fighter. He basically has solutions to everything, even if he's not an expert at anything. But as a result of that, we didn't want him looking too overcompetent. So we wanted to make sure we showed that he was struggling.
Also, with this sequence, I think I might have slightly overdone the symbolism here. Like,
Probably.
I was like, I wanted desperately to go, hey guys, there's a story here. There, he has a character, and
stay on that frame for a bit, Gee.
Okay.
Move on for a moment.
Okay. I'll just hang on. Let me just finish. Hang on. Hang on, Dren. Let me just. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was just. I was saying like, yeah, has a character, and there's a story and an emotional conflict and all of that, and I really wanted to make sure that this was one of my first proper short film. Definitely the first one without dialogue, and I want to make sure that it actually got across, and I did, a little bit too much. Yeah.
Now, the Pitch didn't have I think he got designed pretty quickly actually, but not with his prosthetics out. But the concept of Pitch, of him having so many prosthetics, was actually created before Yang got a robotic arm. At that point, the only character we'd seen with prosthetics was Ironwood. And so it didn't feel so over the top when that happened. The video's disappeared for me, Gee. Don't know why.
Oh, oops.
There
Sorry, I was checking the chat real quick, but.
So, and I like how Proxy, you noticed his eyes. These particular eyes were actually from a free use sort of stock thing, because at the time I couldn't draw eyes. Since I have started to be able to, something I have made sure to do in every design I've made since, with the exception of ones I like for a one-off video and aren't particularly important, is I actually tend to hide little secrets in people's eyes. They all have a slightly different design to them. They all have different sort of patterns of dark and light and different sort of accent colors and random little bits like that. I love doing that. So Pitch doesn't have it, but some of the other characters do.
I really.
It's like on anime characters, they got like different eye colors and like pupil shapes, and it's like really striking.
Yeah, imagine that, but on steroids.
Yes.
But yeah, still,
in fact,
Pitch
if you look really, really closely at Solera's model there, you might be able to see some of the details in her eyes, but I'm not sure. It's a bit small.
Well,
I can just see that one of her eyes is blind, so that's about it.
But yeah, also Pitch's yellow eyes. That was actually an idea from the concept artist. Like we had a color palette,
Yeah.
but he was supposed to have dark eyes. And then, when I presented the idea, the concept artist was like, "Yeah, that's a little bit dull. Let's spice things up a little." And that was a fantastic idea. Like the yellow eyes just pop so much. Anyway.
Oh, and while we're on the concept of color, the orange highlights were actually inspired by a showroom car I saw, an old style one, which had black paint and copper metal everywhere. And I loved the aesthetics, so that's where Pitch's color came from.
Okay.
And that's a really cool transition frame.
This final fight was animated by Seftic. Some of you guys may know him, which is also why the fight animation is better than before, because dude has a lot more experience with that stuff than me. God, I loved this. This final fight was so cool. Like doing the lighting and effects from this room is amazing.
He fought me to have the sort of hoverblade thing for Pitch. I didn't like the idea of him just riding around on his sword, but we agreed that he would use it, but sparingly, which is why he only uses it twice in this entire fight. He can't sort of fly around in it long term, but using it for this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw that. That reminded me of like that girl who has a hoverboard that's also like part of. Yeah, I was like, yeah, it's like that.
Pitch is majorly focused around gravity dust to the extent that his emblem even has the emblem for gravity dust in it. So anything weird he does, you can expect gravity dust to be involved somewhere.
Also, I think again, as I mentioned earlier with the aura and like we want us wanting the fights to feel more visceral and dangerous, it's telling that it's also very intentional that we in the first ever character trailer we put out we have an aura break. This is a mission statement.
Not many people have noticed it, but that's an aura break effect.
Yeah. God, and I love that aura break effect, by the way. Dren, you did a fantastic job.
Yeah, that is effectively, it was an extra something added onto the aura with a massive amount of emission and bloom attached to it, if I remember correctly.
And then I also scaled it up, which made it go haywire.
You scaled Solidify.
Probably the only reason how I was able to figure that out is because like I watched volume 5, so I know like what it looks like when the aura is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we are definitely trying to have like a more consistent visual language with the aura like effects and breaks. Also, by the way,
and you'll notice something on that shot. His pouches don't have a texture because we forgot in that shot to put the texture in.
Dude, I don't think I ever noticed that until just now.
Proxy, the reason why the trailer is called Steel is because we didn't think people would necessarily recognize Pitch as a color. We didn't want to call it the Black trailer because that already existed. And we were trying to come up with something else that fit the character fairly well. And because of all of Pitch's prosthetics and his sort of connections to technology, he makes a lot of his stuff himself.
Also,
it fit.
Also, there's robots in here. He's part metal. Like there's like a
robot,
and like the aesthetic is just metallic.
The color connection for our trailer names kind of falls apart after this, but this is because of something else, which you will find out about if and when we get on to talking about Mask. I'm not sure if I should want to spoil it here or if it's even going to be spoiled this time.
I mean, there was specifically a thing that I decided not to show in order to not spoil that. So let's.
Yeah.
Also, let's think on this moment, by the way, is like for the aura break effect. We told Seftic for the aura break, make it hurt. Like when it just and that slow motion was kind of what did it. Also, I noticed like someone in the chat said that it kind of breaks from back to front because he hits it with the back first. I'm glad you noticed that.
Yep.
That was on purpose. But yeah, basically we tried to go, look, he is hurt.
I like the idea of that shot, but its timing just doesn't work.
No, we kind of have to ignore. Okay. It stretches time.
And this, it may look like it's overpowered, but the whole idea of it is that it uses up all the gravity dust he has, and therefore he is much weakened after it, so he doesn't use it very often.
Yeah, it only really works as a finisher.
And also if he misses, oh no.
Yeah. Also, here's a little detail that I like. For this last shot, the clouds are moving way faster than usual, but that's because first I want a silhouette shot with him behind the moon because it looks really cool. But then as the weapon powers up, there's like this purple glow that gets stronger and stronger, and so then we need to focus on that purple glow. and so the moon is now in the way. So like as the glow gets stronger, the moon gets increasingly covered. So we kind of organically shift focus. I'm really proud of this detail.
And then we have another detail,
really
which is kind of just a
like-
bit funny. This landing had been in the plan since the first sort of draft of the trailer.
Oh
But the
god,
thing
yes.
is, at the time, Pitch had a somewhat relationship to Crow, in that Crow had saved his life at one point, which was dropped from his story at some point in production. But we liked the ending, so we kept this move, which is the same as the one that, of course, Crow used in the fight with Tyrion.
Yeah, also his weapon and his design were partially inspired by Crow, because it was supposed to be an in-universe inspiration, and now that's not really the
I
case
did
anymore.
think he looked an awful lot like him.
And
Yeah.
another thing about this shot, the weapon is backwards.
Yeah,
Technically, it's stabbed into the ground, and somehow it's cutting through the ground with the blunt end of the blade, which is like a 5 centimeter wide slab of
Why
metal.
did you tell them that, Dren?
Yeah, if you hadn't told me that, I would have
Made
been
fun
none
of
the
me.
wiser that
Made
there was
fun of
something
me
wrong.
about this a few times.
Oh
So
my God.
it's
So
yeah.
There-
There are so many things which we look back at this and we think,
There's so many animation
yeah.
errors in this thing.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Guy, at some point, I really gotta ask. You really gotta show me how that the shot effect was done, because I really like
Which
how
effect?
the set.
The gun, the
Yeah,
heavy
gun,
shot.
like the heavy
Oh.
shot when one that you talked about, when it was when
Oh.
the moon was getting covered, and
I'll-
because it just looks so cool.
I'll-
And,
that-
the way
Oh, yes.
Part of that effect
sorry.
was kind of on by accident.
And sorry to
Sorry.
anyone who knows how guns work. I made Pitch's weapon model, and the gun was made with pretty much no reference in at all, because it had to fit inside of the sword, and it doesn't really look that much like a proper firearm. It's a coil gun that uses gravity dust rather than magnets, so it doesn't really need to. But it still, I look at it and I think, this doesn't look that good.
Hmm.
I still think it looks cool.
I really like the design. I don't like the
I'm crazy
fire.
all of myself.
Like I really like the fire in the first scene, but not in this one. I don't know what
Yes.
I did wrong here, but
Oh, so Canaria is literally just young Pitch with different hair and a skirt.
yeah.
They're the same
Oh.
model otherwise.
Also, I think at the end of this thing, it might be a good time to talk about the story, because like one
Yes.
thing that just both what the RWBY original trailers did and what a lot of RWBY fan animations does as a result is there's not usually that much of a focus on story, which it's fine. That's kind of not usually what RWBY is about, but as in these fan animations.
trailers.
Yeah, the trailers. The show itself is, but yeah. But like I just we're storytellers. We really really love just the story aspect of it. So we want
appreciate a good story.
yeah, and like so we really wanted to have like a lot more story and character and stuff in there, like beyond just a fight scene, and that's gonna that we're gonna keep doing like hell. The Mask trailer is gonna probably be 10 minutes long. It has full voice acting. It's basically a short film. It has
It is definitely the length of that.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it has a short film level story. Like it has an actual story with character development and everything. It has gonna have a whole ass audio drama with backstory. Like this, basically these characters have like a history. They have complexity. They're fully fleshed out.
Yeah, they're basically
have too
they're
much
fully fleshed out
history.
characters. I was about to say that.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of,
Even Canaria.
I can't
They have
remember his name off the top of my
layers
head,
like an
but the
ogre.
pilot in this short that speaks at the beginning, who was only a character because we wanted to actually sort of
We need to explain, some
explain
stuff,
what was
yeah.
going on a little bit, has a name and a backstory. I don't know where I wrote it down, but it's written down somewhere.
Yeah, we
This was on a dare from Guy.
Even the
but-
most minor characters
Oh,
have
we
a backstory.
we love doing that. Like we will create come up with the tiniest of details, and then I'll pass it on to Dren, and he will give it a backstory.
While we're briefly on the subject of Canaria, something Cable has just said, yeah, it is same face syndrome with Canaria and Pitch, but that was it was a time-saving method, but it was also really useful for that shot where they were going to change places, because it means that the rig is identical, so the camera's going to be in the exact same place, and there's not big jumps between them.
Also, it adds
And the
to
other
the
thing
whole
about Canaria-
symbolism thing.
is there is actually a little story following on a little while after this trailer from Canaria's perspective, which Guy wrote and I did some editing on, which you can find on AO3 if you look for
I
it.
literally just
We
opened
are,
it here.
yeah, I saw you do it. We are going to be hopefully putting a few more of those out to sort of bridge gaps and give a bit more context.
Yeah, it's like this thing.
Yeah.
Actually, Canaria, she's a really fun one because originally she, again, we came up with her as this is the person that Pitch saves and also that reminds him of his edgy past. That was it. That was the extent of it. She didn't even have a name for a good chunk.
Then I gave her a name.
Yes, then you gave her a name. But then, it came. I wanted to write a short story, and release it at the same time as the trailer in case anyone wanted to read up more on it. But I also didn't want to write that story from Pitch's perspective because we want to keep a lot of him kind of a little bit shrouded in mystery. But see, we still wanted to reveal some of his stuff, but we didn't want you to read his thoughts. So it's now from Canaria's perspective, and it kind of follows the aftermath of this, when and like her adjusting to her new life as an orphan, with kind of Pitch looking out for her, and yeah, and basically I fleshed out Canaria a lot after this. And then now we gave her a stronger bond with Pitch after this. Like they weren't really supposed to really interact much after he saves her, but now, yeah, they're basically parts of each other's lives now, and they actually have really
like a guardian angel.
Yeah, like, they actually have a really cute dynamic, and yeah, I love doing this. I love taking a minor character who just shows up for one tiny thing and then giving them just a whole story. And yeah, so I really recommend you guys read this. I'm actually really proud of this little story. And if you liked the story aspect of the Steel trailer, if the characters kind of intrigue you and stuff, I think you will really enjoy it. The link to that is actually, no, I'll just post in the chat. Why not? Yeah, some shameless plugging.
Yeah, shameless plug. Guy is partially doing this because I pointed out how few views it's got compared to my stories, because they both show up in my AO3 account.
They what, sorry?
They both show up in my AO3 account, remember? So you
yes,
see that I see their views next to mine. Right. What are we doing after the Steel trailer? Are we going on to another video or... Okay. So yeah, this one was my passion project after Judgmental Critter threw down the gauntlet with another animation challenge, and people on the Leo versus Crow video we did for her previous one kept talking about how the models weren't very good. So I decided I am going to make you eat your words.
Yum.
And boy, he did.
Yeah.
By the way, this is only supposed to be a... Yeah, Warlord helped a lot. Warlord did the sets for this, with the exception of Ty's house, because I already had that. But he sort of polished that up for me.
Yeah.
This is actually...
the inside of his house.
Yes. Warlord did the outside of it. This is a 1-minute segment of what's supposed to be a much longer video, but it's very much secondary to everything else going on. So we probably won't see the rest of it for quite a while, but it's part of a sequence I've had in my head for couple of years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just because I like the music, actually.
Right. I hope. Okay, let's watch this one in full because I'm not sure that many people actually watched it, and it's also very short. So let's watch in full first, and then we'll talk through it.
Yeah. Don't get in trouble for the music, actually.
Oh no.
I really love the music.
It is one of my favorite songs.
It's just so melancholy, and I love that.
Jen, I'll mostly let you take the lead on this because
Yeah.
this was yours.
So
So just tell me when to pause.
this was a big sort of step up in the models for me because I got some really good advice and some good reference images, and I was able to sort of massively refine them. If we get going, because you can kind of see it in the first scene actually. Go through the logo again. Right. So that was made fairly quickly just with random images that I'd made. Crow there, if we see him from the front, that is actually, or started off as the model from our Leo versus Crow fight. I took the low poly and I took across Summer's face because I already made Summer by this point, made it fit Crow, and then did everything else around it. But the initial mesh was actually the low poly, so I'm surprised he worked out as well as he did. But you can still see he looks pretty good there. We were trying a new line art style, which is what we keep doing. We keep carrying that forward because it's worked really well. His model looks pretty damn good from most angles. His cape, the rig on his cape is awful, but RWBY and Yang are the last of the same generation of models that contain Pitch and Canary, etc. In fact, Yang's model is a modified version of Canary. I just made her face different, changed the shirt and skirt into a dress, and gave her new hair, and RWBY's a slightly shrunk down version. But they look so much worse than the others in this. And part of that's shading, part of that's modeling. Also, the blanket RWBY has is literally Summer's cape. Summer is, at this point, under the floor. And that was so awful to animate. Animating cloth from a bunch of points and expecting it to react.
Dude, I mean, like, you were just getting into animation at this point, and I would struggle with this
I properly
a lot.
animated.
Like, I hate animating cloth, and I've been animating for years. Not that I'm great at, like, physics, animating physics and body mechanics to begin with, but yeah, I'm good at animating like character acting shots, like the very small emotions. This is why I just love close-ups of just the characters just emoting and acting. And like I really love those because those are the ones I'm actually good at. I struggle with everything else.
Yeah. It's a good thing we never see Yang from behind, because the hair from behind looks awful. That is the same Crow as the Crow, as the Leo versus Crow fight. And then there's this scene. This is where you first start seeing the fact that I'm drawing 2D stuff. I had to recreate that drawing from the one which we actually see, which was a bit difficult, but I like doing it. I added some extra details with the birds and stuff like that, but it was a lot of fun.
I honestly thought that was the original picture.
Yeah.
Oh yes. The reason, pause that, Gay. The reason Crow drinks from the bottle is only partially because it's a better sort of character moment. The main reason was because I didn't want to have to try and have liquid in a glass react to him drinking it. So I could use an opaque bottle and it wouldn't be visible.
That's brilliant.
And then you'll have to pause quickly here.
This detail is fantastic.
Yeah. I just had the idea partway through to replace the bottle, have the bottle shatter into Summer's emblem. Those are actually just a whole bunch. I made Summer's emblem because I already had it for Summer's design herself. So it literally just swaps from the bottle to the emblem model with all the bits together and they move apart. So it was a flat emblem I cut into bits, and then I curved each piece so it looked like it could be from a bottle, and that's why we get the different patterns of light across it. I love that detail.
Yeah.
But it's only on frame for like 4 or 5 on screen for like 5 frames.
Yeah. So this action scene was the only thing I actually personally animated on this trailer.
Yeah.
This was
Chimera. I loved making
really
it.
Good.
I hated rigging it. I got so much better at using Rigify, which is the tool we use for rigging, but I hated rigging it.
Oh yeah, you made that known in like the chat. It's like, oh god, this is so much work.
Also,
I'm about to snap.
Yep.
I think what she's saying is you were being like a whiny little baby about it.
Yes. Look,
I didn't call you a baby, but...
Actually, fun fact, the wings on that Chimera were stolen from the Crow model. Not only was the model itself stolen, I stole the rig and kind of Frankensteined the wing rig of the Crow to attach to the Chimera model, because I did not want to have to model and rig wings again.
Mm.
Will, stealing from yourself, how could you?
Yes.
Also, yeah, for on this action scene was actually like the first. Oh, sorry, that's actually a little loud. Yeah. Oh, that's why. Right. So this was actually like the first of several. Well, I guess it was the start of me getting into my new fight animation style, which is Attack on Titan. I really love Attack on Titan, so I love characters like moving about, and like use a lot of its cinematography tricks. I've since gotten better at it. This one's a little bit clunky, but yeah, this was basically like, and her zipping around, with using the recoil and stuff. This was basically like Dren gave me free reign on this scene, and I wanted to try out something like this. And yeah, it was good for a first attempt, but it's still like very quick and very difficult to follow and very messy. But
Warlord, you'll want to hear this. Someone in the chat noticed you had that weird spider grim thing in the courtyard.
Yeah. I'm so sorry we didn't get to use
Warlord made this set, and it is absolutely amazing. The whole idea was we looked up the design for what Salem's castle is supposed to look like, and it's a big hunk of purple crystal.
It's a fucking purple penis.
Warlord, don't swear.
Warlord, it's a stream. Control yourself.
Please stop. We can't censor the cursing.
You are being broadcast live to the whole world, all 17 of the people watching.
So yeah, I did.
Yeah, like if you want to be angry, but like we can't swear, please.
I did the other 2D art in here as well. So it was comping those images in was easier than I thought it would be. It was a bit of a faff, but it didn't take that long.
I'm just trying to actually real quick get a good look of this Salem's castle, because I'm still very sad that I didn't get to actually see the whole thing.
Sorry, I got yelled at.
You what, sorry?
That's a good-looking castle.
Someone went into my area and yelled at me.
Oh.
Alright, sorry.
Mike didn't pick that up.
Yeah, no, sorry, I muted myself real quick. But, yeah, basically, okay, so, sorry about the language, I should have...
Yeah, we were joking. It's fine, we were joking.
I'm pretty sure I have sworn at least once so far.
I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure Cosmos said fuck in like the first sentence she spoke on the stream. We're good.
See?
Right, let's keep going because we don't have much time.
Yes, shit, we only have 1 hour.
Sorry. So, 2 things about this stage. First off, I had to completely design it from scratch because Salem's castle sucks. It's boring. And dear God, I'm so happy they made the whale like her main evil villain thing in like volume 7 and 8. Like Jesus Christ. And the second thing is, I'm actually kind of unhappy with the end product of the stage, only because it doesn't have all the details I originally put in. Because I think I sent one where I did not detail it as much. So it's like missing like the weird red vines, some of the crystals are missing, and a bunch of other stuff.
I think it did have the weird red vines, but we ended up having to remove them in part of the area because we wanted to have that rock spire cut by the goat laser.
Oh shit, that's right. Okay, that's right. Shit.
I was so pleased
fine as it is, and adding more details to it might have made it look a little busy.
Especially since we barely get to see it.
If people are wondering, yes, the goat laser was inspired by Medea's laser from the Dark Souls 3 DLC. It was the main inspiration for that.
Yeah.
And then this sequence was drawn because I didn't want to make a RWBY in order to animate it.
Until you made a RWBY.
Yeah, until I made a RWBY, we'll get to that. And then there's Salem, who, yes, I made Salem for like a 5-second clip, which is not the focus for most of it. And then we have this piece of art, which has a bunch of the people that Summer cares about. So we see a bunch of characters when they're younger. Oz looks exactly the same. Glinda has her hair down. Oobleck doesn't look much different. Port's not grey. Ironwood doesn't have a beard. And again,
he didn't
Leo's
have a
not
beard
grey.
in Volume 2.
He has stubble.
He was
it doesn't matter. He looks a bit younger anyway. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Also, you might see if you look closely, right at the very end, a bit of purple magic starts appearing in Salem's hand. That was it because she used to be preparing a blob of magic in response to Summer,
Why
but we
did you?
changed the timing a bit, and it's
Oh.
mostly not visible anymore. It was on your suggestion we changed the timing, Gay.
Yeah, but the timing of like the movement, not that you could have still had the magic in there. That still would have worked.
You said something about the magic anyway.
I think there might have been a
we might see it if, in like the last few frames.
Ah, come on.
But the main problem we had with this animation was how intensive everything was, and my computer's struggling to deal with it. Partially because I'm using my laptop at the moment, but mostly because Warlord made this very, very good stage, but it is a very detailed stage.
We had the same thing. We had the same problem with the Seal trailer.
We were working with outlines, with the new way we have of doing outlines. And the problem with that is very intensive as well. I've since worked out a way to get around that. But at the time, anytime we tried to turn on the outlines to render anything, the entire system slowed to a crawl. Yeah.
So also, chat, you're going to enter the new Judgmental Critter Animation Challenge. I don't think we have it in us to refuse it.
Well, I think there was a reason I wasn't looking at the new one. Let me just look it up and see what its topic was.
Judgmental Critter is like she's the RWBY YouTuber who, for some reason, we've made it our mission to impress her. I don't.
Yeah.
Know.
Every time she like posts a new challenge, y'all like. Okay, it's go time.
Because every single time.
Was there another one that they were doing? What was?
Actually, hang on.
It was the OC animation challenge, with 2 OCs. And the thing is, we've basically that we're currently doing an OC animation challenge with 2 OCs. It's just taking ages to come out.
Actually, I think we could go back to the first time the thing that's made us.
We could submit this. Again.
No, just back to the thing that made us want to impress her to begin with, because the first ever animation challenge we joined, was. We were supposed to animate one of the older characters in RWBY, because there's barely any fan animations of theirs, and I saw this as an opportunity for UC. Judgmental Critter.
He getting up on his soapbox.
Judgmental Critter doesn't like Lionheart. His weapon specifically. The fandom in general does not like Lionheart at all. They consider him like a pretty bad character. Very one note, very pathetic, all of that. I very much like Lionheart as a character. Always did. Because, I mean...
Always has been.
Well, and for 2 reasons. First, the character and the weapon. The character, I really like him because he's the normal person in this. Sorry, I'm struggling to put words together. In RWBY, when we're watching RWBY, we're watching heroes, right? These people learn, hey, the world is ending, and you can't do shit about it, probably. You are currently facing overwhelming odds, and you and everyone you love are probably gonna die. Their response is, cool, let's do it. Let's fight. And I really like that, Lionheart certainly at some points was just that. And then he was actually faced with Salem, and then with the fear, with his impending death, right in front of him.
No.
Him actually having to make that sacrifice, he couldn't do it, and I think that's relatable as fuck. Who here would actually jump at a chance to sacrifice their lives for?
That's along those lines. I actually do agree with that. Yeah, because if it were me, I'm not finna do nothing but hide in the back and be like, let these people do their thing. I'm gonna be over here.
Yeah,
note, this is Cosmo's perspective, not Solera.
Yeah. But yeah, and Lionheart, he's also very aware of it. We have throughout RWBY a lot of characters, especially a lot of villains, who are either just evil and they know they're evil and they don't care, or they are in denial about their reasons as to why they are on the side of evil. Emerald, Mercury especially, in one of my favorite scenes in the show in Volume 6. I can't wait to see more of him. And Raven in Volume 5 as well. She has that whole, survival of the fittest mentality. I'm just joining the strong. And there's a scene where she tells that to Lionheart, and he just tells her, "Dude, you're afraid. I'm afraid. That's why we're doing this." Like, I like how self-aware he is. Anyway, sorry. I also just realized we've been holding on a really boring frame this whole time.
Yes, so that
Look at those
throw is the
stairs,
same
though.
as it is
Like,
became
get to
the
the
throw from the
action
other video.
already!
But
You will note how the only weapons, the only models with any particular detail in this are the stage, which I made before Warlord came on the party, so that's why I made that one, and the weapons. Whenever I make a RWBY weapon, it's always as close of a replica of the weapon in the show as I can possibly reach.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, I
It does look pretty close to, like, Koro's actual weapon.
Yeah. We need to hurry this along
Yes.
at a time, because I'm very quickly going to
shut up.
try and make the rest of my point, and then we can move on to the rest of the stuff. So, yeah, the other thing about Lionheart that Judgmental Critter very much does not like is his weapon. She has insulted his weapon on so many occasions. But I thought, that weapon is dope. The problem is, it just gets used really badly. And like in the way it's animated, the way it's used, like it's used in a really boring way. But I've always maintained, if animated properly, if choreographed properly, this weapon could be really awesome. And so take a character that I like and I think is underrated, take a weapon that I like and I think is really underrated, by that one specific YouTuber who made a challenge. And I was like, I'm gonna prove you wrong on all accounts, on everything. And so first I wrote like a scene where they actually spoke, where I got to basically portray Lionheart. I guess it's not really fixing, like there were a lot of comments that were saying I fixed Lionheart. I don't really think I did. I just took the traits that I already really liked and that were already there and kind of took them to the forefront and tried and present them in a more relatable way. And then basically I took his weapon, and yeah,
Gee,
I think I'm just gonna skip.
Let's try not to pause this until after the speaking.
Yes, that's.
Don't you think about saying that? You murdered your teachers, your friends. And why? Because you were scared?
For years, I'd picture the moment she'd come for me. I'd give her a calm speech about sacrifice.
What's the funny anime, like, fun talk speech?
Wait.
Well,
We're trying to not speak until after dialogue scene.
Sorry, my brain cut out. I'm sorry.
For years, I'd picture the moment she'd come for me. I'd give her a calm speech about sacrifice. Sit at my desk and say, "Do as you wish." We all think we'll make that choice. Be thankful you've never been faced with that fear. So overwhelming. You betrayed everything you stood for.
Are we supposed to pretend like I don't risk my life 5 days a week?
So did I.
Oh, right. You want a medal. Quit the pity party. You want forgiveness. You're not getting it.
My apologies. Perhaps we should just get on with it.
Right, pause.
Okay.
Now, here is the amazing fact about this. Both those characters are voiced by the same person.
Luca.
They are both voiced by Luca, the sound guy we were mentioning. Not only that, the music piece and the rest of it is a cover he made and did the lyrics in.
Yeah. Every voice you hear in this is just
all of the
same
audio
guy.
in this entire video is Luca.
Oh god, yeah.
It's just like an all-around talent.
Yeah, I mean, he's also a really good artist too. Like, dude, he is so good at so many things. It's like
Yes,
this channel would not be where it is.
So scary.
Yeah, this channel would not be where it is without him.
Nope.
He has so much power.
Anyway.
He's so OP.
This is probably the best fight animation I've ever animated.
yeah, it is still probably one of the best ones you've done, despite the fact you made it in like 2 days.
I rushed it so hard. How did this turn out so well?
Yeah, and I remember
Bro, I didn't even realize that the song that's playing is a cover of freaking Rules of Nature
Yes.
from Metal Gear Rising.
I love
I'm like,
If
why
I
do I
remember
like this song
correctly-
so much? It's from Metal Gear Rising. I love Metal Gear Rising soundtrack.
If I remember, Guy was trying to find a way to remember to finish that fight, and I was looking up various kinds of dust, and I just stumbled upon electricity plus gravity equals magnetic dust. There we go,
Yes.
right there. And so that was how that ending came to be, because we couldn't really think of a way to finish it off in such a quick time.
Yeah, let's then very quickly just move right on because stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, this is our
Now-
most newest video. Okay, yeah, you announce.
If you are watching this, it's likely you'll have seen this video because it is the one which I made as an advert for us doing this. Note on the RWBY in this. She's been in one of our videos before. I made a short a month or two ago. I'm not sure how long it was ago, actually, advertising this as well, but of course it was a short, so not everyone saw it. This RWBY, the day after we posted the Stark video, I was basically talking in the chat with people, and Warlord basically said, maybe you should have a rest for a day. And out of pure spite, I modeled and rigged RWBY and did texture art and everything in a day, the day after the Stark video was played. I had to fix a few things over the next few days, like corrective shape keys and stuff like that, but she was functional a day after the previous video.
He was basically like, take a day off, and you were like, no, I do what I want. I'm gonna keep working. Yeah.
That
He
is
was
the
like,
day I learned to never give advice to Will ever
Yeah,
again.
he was like, they called me a
These two
madman.
models, this RWBY and Weiss are my two sort of current gen character models. They are so much better than the ones that have come before.
Yeah, definitely. And this is the sort of stuff you can generally expect moving forward.
But maybe not.
Yeah,
For the
possibly
next
not
project,
entirely
right?
for mask yet, because we're still. I mean, we're still.
The models for the next trailer, the initial versions I made like a year or so ago. I will update them, but they'll still have a lot of their foibles they currently have.
Right. Anyway, let's.
Anyway, go.
Yeah, do this one real quick. So yeah, we made this video fairly quickly.
Yeah.
In large part as an advert to Summer, like Summer of RWBY. I mean.
It was meant to be posted on the 15th, but it got delayed by a while because of other things.
My turn.
Oh, I should have sent you the 6-second video, Guy. That's a pretty good
yeah.
fight scene, actually.
Yes. Next time.
And yes, this partially was just because I wanted to actually make a beacon that had a proper layout, rather than every single time we see beacon in the show, it's either from a distance or a small. It makes no sense. And once again, Warlord is doing his magic with sound.
You mean Luca?
Excuse me.
Yeah, Luca.
I don't know. What is that shit?
He did not do the voice acting though.
No, he's not the voice acting. The voice acting came from a combination of Chibi and
Yeah,
Blazblue.
I remember that.
Also,
I remember
Blazblue
that
is a
line.
really good source for random lines.
also shameless shipping fuel.
Yes,
Yeah.
shameless shipping fuel.
It's
Uh,
shipping
I
fuel,
decided
everybody hit
to
the
do
tag!
together.
I didn't used to ship White Rose, but
Now,
now
one
I
thing
kind of do.
here, you'll note as the sun sets, everything gets a bit more red. This is one of my sort of efforts to bring back colored lighting artificially. I'm not going to get into specifics of it, because unless you know how Blender works, no one will understand it. But it's rather sneaky, and it's a bit of a blanket solution. It doesn't really work as well as I'd hope. So I'm not sure if it'll be the main solution going forwards, but it's better than nothing, is basically the case there.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, sorry, real quick.
So-
There is one thing that I forgot about the previous animation, just as to wrap things up. Leo versus
Okay.
Crow, which is, we did manage to get Critter to admit that actually Leo's weapon was, could be
Yes.
cool. That was a big thing that we managed to get her to concede
We
on.
were successful.
Yeah, which is, I think that was kind of what it started it, because like in her response video, she was like, yeah, they want to prove that Leo's stupid, dumb weapon could be cool. And they did it, shit. And I was like, yeah, take that.
Mission
and
complete.
And I think since then, every single time she does a challenge, we're like, okay, let's go above and beyond, and in some way, like the Stark video was supposed to just be an AMV, so take scenes from the show, and
I told you, every time she posts a new challenge, they like.
It was supposed to be low poly models, but then actually the reason it went to high poly models is I made a version of Summer to advertise Summer of RWBY because it was being planned back then. Her in a summer dress, and I thought, well, I've got a high poly model for her now, basically. Why don't I just? And I spent 2 days making summer high poly. And at that point, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. So this is like a thing, like a lesson too. Spite is never good as the main motivator for something, because like if your main motivation for something is spite, it'll just end up being mean spirited, and like there will be no heart in it. Like you can tell.
Yeah, look at Sonic Omens. That was spiteful.
However, if spite is like the sprinkles on top, like if you sprinkle spite on top of your motivation, that can really help you push it to the next level. If you're like, hey, no, I'm really excited to do this. Also, fuck you.
Right.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. That could be.
I think we're going to move to showing some background stuff now. But if you have any questions about any of those videos, feel free to put them in the chat and I'll try and respond to them, or someone else will. Guy can't normally see the chat because he's dealing with the stream. But
I'll try this one. Actually,
right. Are we going to show a Blender file now, or?
I think. Let's start with the images probably.
Okay. Yeah.
We've got it here. And stuff. Yeah, I think I'll just start with
this
one.
is sort of okay.
Energy. Very nice.
Yeah, this is also where the sneak peeks into Mask come in. But yeah, this one was a storyboard made for.
I'm not sure if they can see it on screen yet. It might just be that the stream hasn't updated yet for me. It's just a bit delayed. But have you swapped the stream over?
I have swapped the stream over. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean I haven't swapped. Like this is still the same.
Of course.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm getting confused.
Yeah, the stream is delayed, so like us looking at it being like
delayed.
So
what's going on?
So like we didn't actually make storyboards for most of this. We did have a storyboard artist attached early on who made this gem, like these really beautiful storyboards. Turns out nowadays we don't really use them anymore, at least not 2D storyboards, because I specialized in 3D storyboarding. It's called layout, but whatever, it's basically 3D storyboarding. But yeah, at the time this really helped with the vibe. And yeah, I really
don't know why picture's living in a tent, but it's a really cool bit of concept art.
Yeah, I mean I think it was supposed to be
got the vibe across pretty perfectly.
Yeah. Actually we use where's the mood board? Wait. Here it is.
Yeah.
At the time it was called Pitch Trailer because we didn't have a name. Like a mood board is, but if you are working on a project like this, a mood board is really, really useful. Like you just take a bunch of, just browse a bunch of images that hit the vibe that you're looking for, and then you use them as inspiration. That can be really, really useful. This was like
we really wanted the orange color coming through in the flashback,
and like the almost. This is gonna sound so pretentious. The impressionistic style. Like I really love impressionism.
It's supposed to be a bit of a dream, anyway.
Yeah. Like and it's like we like that hazy thing that like it's low on detail, but it focuses on like the vague feeling. And yeah, very dreamlike. And I really love that aesthetic, and I use that in a lot of my works, and that definitely inspired the flashback. The present was supposed to contrast with it. It was supposed to be very harsh. At the time, it was supposed to be more blue. We ended up going with much more like a stark black and white. And like these were for the buildings. Like these were inspirations for the buildings. This was a very early
That was
model.
The first house that was made. Yeah. I can't remember who made the set for the steel trailer because it wasn't me. We've had multiple people join the team and have to leave the team over the course of making steel because it took so long.
It took so long, and also we were like really bad at managing this early on.
We didn't know we were doing it.
Yeah, like I mean, Proxy is in a chat. You joined early on, and like I am so sorry, Proxy. We did not know what we were doing. We were terrible at managing this.
We're so young and inexperienced. We were so fresh.
Oh,
While we're talking about the aesthetic of the Steel trailer, something very important we wanted to have is, you know how Remnant's moon apparently spins, because in the show we see it side on, we see it from the front, we see the entire broken bit, and at some time in the
yes.
red trailer we see it from behind. We specifically wanted it to be broken in the past, which is the first shot we see, Guy.
Yep.
Yeah, we wanted it to be broken in the past, but have been rotated, so we saw the almost full side in the present. And there's a good shot on the airship.
Yeah, I'm searching for the moonshot.
There we go. So it's almost completely round the right way, and that has implications for Pitch's character.
Yes.
But I'm not going to get too much into them because it'll be spoilers.
This shot has so much symbolism.
Also, I made that moon really quickly, and it's still the moon we're using.
Yeah. Well, also, like, there's one piece of symbolism that you know can actually no, because like by the end of the trailer, you can see that his parts of his body are prosthetics, which he covers up, and his right arm is actually a prosthetic which is covered up. Huh?
We put in so many little things to get to what they are.
Yeah,
shattered
moon, shattered moon, like shattered moon that is like almost completely hidden, except for you can kind of see the shattered bits in the background. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. How long is it?
Mari, the issue is there that animating pitch is not a case of, okay, we're in animation now, it'll take us this long to finish it. It's a case of when are people available to it, how much can they work on it, how much have we got prepared, and because there's so many different steps to it and we work over such a long time frame, a minute of pitch, how long is the Steel trailer?
5.
According to, if you break down the full time we were working on the Steel trailer by the number of minutes, it takes a year to animate a minute of pitch, but we weren't actively animating for that long.
Half of that was us learning how to do this.
Half of that we didn't know. Half of that was us messing around and completely. Ugh.
I legitimately did not know how to animate for the first half of that time, and I am now deeply embarrassed of that.
Yes. Anyway, what next should we show off?
So moonboards. I've just say let's go through the images. Yes, this thing will make sense.
While we're waiting, so before we go on to any new stuff. So this is the actual concept art for Cosmo's character. Yep. This was a redesign I made because I wasn't happy with the main design. One of the main things Solera does is, as well as having a pretty strong aura, she wears a lot of armor. She is a tank. So yeah, that's what's going on there.
She can also wear a helmet.
And she wears a helmet most of the time. Well, when she's fighting. Some people, if they know what various things mean, may be able to work out who she's inspired by just based on her design, but I'm not going to say it in this little stream. And I
wish I knew folklore, but I don't, because it's not
folklore. I have explained it to you, but it was quite a while ago.
It's not folklore.
I'm not going to give any more hints than that. Right. What
really cool.
next?
Well, Okay, let's just really quickly go into maybe the audio drama.
So yeah, these are bits of concept art that were done for the audio drama based on our actual concept. Like, I think, with the exception of Tangle, that was supposed to be the cover when it was going to be a comic.
Yeah.
With the exception of Tangle herself, I designed all of the original character designs for this. I do a lot of character design for pitch, but because I started learning to draw about a year into us working on it, the first few characters, including most of the main 8, I think 6 of them, were designed by other people.
Yeah.
Also, Tango's gun there, that is my favorite weapon I have made for pitch.
Yes.
Anywhere. I love it.
It's a really cool weapon. And yeah, I love this cover.
It does later.
This was drawn by, I think, a friend of Lucas.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and this again, we're probably going to try and repurpose this somehow because like for the audio drama, like maybe as a cover, resize it as a cover for the video or something because it's just too cool not to use. As for the comic, we had a bunch of designs where like we simplified Tanger in order to be more easily drawn quickly. This was all done by Luca, who was going to be the main artist at the time.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Part of it is a flashback that takes place when she's younger, like I think 13, something like that.
I think it's 13.
That's her.
Something like that.
I really like this design as well. Luca
is a much faster artisan I am. It takes me ages.
Yeah, this is Jazz, a both younger and older version, flashback and
Ooh.
non-flashback. He
Boo.
is, who boy is he a character? He's like every
Yes.
Yeah.
Send him to the shit yard.
every single
Boo.
every
He's
single
already there. Look at his clothes.
every single
Yeah,
time
I
I
believe
write like
I
every single time I write him, I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it make you want to tear all the clothes off
I'll
him?
say-
You hate him so much.
Oh God.
That could be taken in two very
No,
different ways.
she means it in a very specific way. I'm pretty sure. And this is Jadis, who is also not a very good
That's
person.
Tango's mother.
Yes.
She was she took a while to design. Her first design was, I know. And then this one took me I was trying to come up with ideas for her costume for like a week or two before I actually decided on something for her. And yes, we have her both with and without the coat on her shoulders because we are aware that animating with some character with a coat on their shoulders is going to be a nightmare. I've partially done it because I made the Salem model and she has basically the same thing.
And yeah,
that
she's like,
experience was
honestly,
pain.
when it comes to this character with Tanger's backstory and whole story thing, and like I'm gonna be very careful to tease stuff without spoiling it. Oh yeah, also this is Solera. That's design.
Yeah,
Very cool.
that's the
It's me.
simplified version of
Yeah.
Solera because Solera has a lot of random little details.
But yeah, so I like the thing about Tanger's backstory and her story is like, there's not a whole lot of people in her, like around her that are particularly good people. Like
There are some.
Yeah, they're just it's especially the characters like we deal a lot with gray morality in Pidge. I mean, Solera is a very good example of that.
Well,
What are you
thank
talking
you.
about? She's golden morality. No.
Yeah, yeah, we literally,
Yeah, like look at all. Did you not see all that white? She's the glowing example of purity and justice and all the other good synonyms I can't think of.
I mean, that her design was specifically made to look like very heroic and almost angelic, and yeah,
For a while, she actually had wings until we realized that wouldn't
She had
work.
wings.
yeah.
There were story reasons why we had to remove that.
Yeah,
Wings.
but yeah, so
The wings. Does she have a halo and a freaking heart to play to?
she's close to it. Yeah.
No, but she does have divine light. No.
A heart that
Yeah.
turns to a fucking nuke.
But yeah, it's yeah. So we really just gray morality was something that was always kind of at the core of Pidge, and we kind of chose not to introduce that in Steel because we just one thing at a time. But it's definitely we're definitely gonna introduce that in Mask.
Now,
Not that
we
by the way,
have
not to say that everyone's like that it's really super edgy and everyone's terrible and stuff. Like Gray doesn't.
No, some people are just cool.
Yeah, like Gray doesn't mean everyone is constantly doing terrible things. Gray means gray. Some people are better than others, and most people are just like in the middle.
Right, Guy, do we now tease Mask or do we show some things from Blender?
Let's hold off on teasing Max just a little bit longer.
Okay.
Just a little
Can
bit.
I recommend, unless you have something else you want to show first, that we first start with the Salem one because that's a fairly simple one.
Okay, I was actually I think I already
If you
have
want something
I
else.
already have the Steel file open, and you know how long that
Okay, yeah,
takes
let's
to
look
open.
at that.
Hang on, I'll
Now,
quickly swap it
the
over.
Steel file takes ages to open because when we were coming up with it, I didn't want to draw materials for all the buildings because that would take ages. So I worked off a couple of tutorials. Bear in mind, this was very early on in my progress of doing this to make materials. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure the materials I ended up making were mostly supposed to be for stills. And they are very, very intensive on the scene and make it run very, very slowly. If
You
we
can
actually
see
have
the
a look
walls
at
here.
them at some point,
I,
you
I'm
can see all the detail in the
Oh,
content.
hang on. I'll stream them now. I'm
You haven't
actually
swapped
streaming
them,
it on
stream.
there now. Yep. Give me a second. How do I swap stream?
You turn off the video one and turn on the Blender one.
Okay. Hang on.
You've just ended the
I-
other.
I'll do this. I'll do it like this.
Okay, yeah. So,
Also,
yeah.
the everyone's pink because the texture, like I moved the file to
Yeah.
a different location and the textures weren't applied, and I could not be bothered to.
For the images in your folder to work out what the texture should be unless you actively attach them to the Blender file. And at this stage, we didn't know how to do that. We know how to do that now, but there wasn't much point in going through and attaching all of the different textures to everyone
Oh.
again.
My God, the
Can you figure
organization.
out what-
I was so bad at organizing stuff back then. My God.
Oh
That
god,
is
that looks
Warlord.
like my organization's method. Oh,
Yeah,
Right.
and I learned the
waiting
hard way why
Actually
it.
shows up on the stream.
What was that, Dren? Can you repeat that? Sorry.
I want to make sure that the Blender appears on the stream.
Well, yeah, it will be. Like, it will be appearing as you're talking about it. Like, you are seeing this in real time,
No,
but they'll see.
it's not on the stream, Guy.
Oh, what do you mean?
Like,
Oh.
we're talking about the organization on the stream, and it's not appeared on
Oh
it.
God, I'm
I
an
don't
idiot.
think you swapped over OBS correctly.
I'm an idiot. Yeah, I see it now. Sorry. Okay, sorry.
Okay,
The complex materials he was
Right.
talking about was this.
Yeah.
we're confusing people.
So you can see the concrete. There's rust on the metal bits, which you would never got close enough to a bit of metal to see the rust. It's not just on the wires; it's on bigger bits of metal. But
Oh yeah.
yeah,
We kind of did. Like when we first see Canary,
you
it's
can
like
see
this
it in
angle,
a few shots,
like
but
here,
yeah.
and we can see it here when we first
So, yeah,
meet her.
you can see rust on the lamppost.
But yeah. Also, if this looks really complicated, and like really difficult to use, don't worry. If you use it for really long, like if you get enough experience, it'll still melt your brain every time.
The reason it looks
Currently melting
complicated
mine.
is all of the lights are visible, and the knights have multiple lights on them to make sure they're glow affected.
Yes,
pitch.
this is a
Because
light
the glowing-
source. Like,
Glowing materials don't actually cast light in the engine we use. Guy, can you turn off the lights in the visibility thing? You know, the eye.
yes,
of the
yeah. There we go. Nope, wrong one. Here.
So it looks a
Right,
bit
yeah.
simpler without them.
Okay, but I like it when it looks complicated.
Yeah, of course.
I
you do.
don't.
Now, the knights were made by someone else. I can't remember who.
ZM,
I
again,
had to
same
go
guy who
through
made the
and-
stage.
I had to go through and simplify them so it wouldn't melt Guy's computer, and I made a new rig for them because something had gone wrong with the other rig. But they were mostly made, by CM.
Yeah, Fantastic
And they're
Modeler was at the time was not used to optimizing models.
No.
I mean, right by now he's making a video game, so he better know how to optimize them now, or else he's
Yeah.
fucked.
I legitimately wrote lore for why these knights look slightly different from the ones in RWBY, which is why they have AK-170 on their shoulder in the actual video. You won't be able to see that here because that's texture. But the ones we see in the show, we see the 130s in the black trailer, and we see the 200s being used at the Fall of Beacon and those sorts of things. So these are supposed to be somewhere in the middle. The Paladin, on the other hand, the Paladin we were given by someone, I don't remember who, but it's actually like a model from somewhere else.
We don't actually
I'm
know
not
who
sure.
originally made it.
No,
we
it
got
was
it from
given
the
to us by-
we got
yeah.
it from the creator of Neon, and he didn't remember who he got it from.
We then proceeded to cut off bits to make it look a bit like a prototype. And the really annoying thing is when you are making a texture, you have to basically unfold all the faces of the model onto a 2D plane so you can draw over them and it knows where to put all the different patterns and things. This model, almost every single face is a different separated bit of geometry. The organization of all those parts took me like a week, and it's just because I had to basically identify each individual face and work out what color it was supposed to be. It was, oh no, I hated
But I just
it.
realized we have like 20 minutes left on this one.
Yeah, I know we don't have much time.
Ah.
Is there anything you particularly want to show in this one?
I think a good example of like what unfinished animation looks like this, looks really great and ugly, and it's so much fun and really difficult to turn this from this into the final thing, which I won't do right now because I could press a button and get this closer to the final look, but that would melt my PC.
Everything would slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess just this is what the the scenario looks like. Also, I don't think you ever really get a good look at like what the location actually looks like. But
I don't think they ever get a good look at the factory either.
no, my cinematography skills weren't really up to snuff at the time. I did a lot of close-ups and like just focusing on the characters, and I barely ever really established the environment, which was definitely a mistake. Also, there's
Hey,
a bunch of
joke, but it's not that much time. We
Yeah.
spent about that much time messing around at the beginning.
Also, all the effects that aren't currently in hues are hidden underneath the floor.
Hiding stuff underneath the floor is a very, very important
Yeah.
bit of animation.
Yep. Anyway, now
Never-
very quickly, let's show Salem.
Sally Salem. Salem Sally.
This
So
one is
yeah,
much easier.
this you might have the textures on her. I can't remember if I linked them. I think I did. They take a while to load in either way. There we
Yep,
go.
there they are.
So yeah, this is not my most recent version. In fact, the Ruby and Weiss models, their torso is actually modified from Salem's torso, which was based off. This Salem was actually based in a lot of ways, geometry-wise, off a wireframe of the show's Salem that I found. I don't know why her face is taking.
I don't. Yeah, it's just
Some of the
give it a little
things
bit of
have come
time.
in fairly quickly.
There.
There we go. There's her eyes. So yeah, she's got multiple textures going on. If you make the rig visible, Guy, for a moment, it looks very complicated. So of course the Rigify window's not going to work, but you can move her around. Is Simplify on?
Let me check. It is not.
No, turn Simplify on. That'll speed everything up. So that's how it actually is normally when we're animating. So slow. But Salem's legs were a pain because you know how quite often in video games, especially in things like, I don't know, Skyrim, I've noticed, and if you have modded clothing which is long and goes down in like a skirt or something, there's quite often some really awkward tearing where one leg moves half of it forward, the other leg moves it back. In order to smooth that, Salem actually has a third leg down the middle, which every single bone goes to halfway between the two main legs and rotates so that the mesh sort of deforms in a way where it fits. And she's got two sets of feet because she's got the feet that represent the dress itself, which are the big ones, and then she's got some feet for what the actual leg inside the skirt is doing. So there's some subtle deformation as she steps.
Yeah, by the way, if before you ask, yes, we did make jokes about the third leg.
Yes. This is because I managed to find the demo reel of the person who rigged Salem, and it had about a 5-second bit of footage of Salem walking with various levels of rig, and I went in and dissected that 5 seconds to work out how she worked. Oh god. But yeah, if you can show the face rig with her actually, because we're likely not going to do that anywhere else. But we have that's a hair key.
There we go.
We have a quite complicated face rig, so just make some expressions and stuff like that.
I didn't actually
the
use
head.
it. Yep, hang on.
You don't need to do that. You can just use the box off to the side, remember?
Oh yeah, those. Yeah, sorry, I never actually ended up using this rig on
Yeah,
Salem.
he hasn't used the face rig that much, but you see how we can move the mouth around, and if you open up, the tongue doesn't have a texture yet for some reason.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
But yeah, this is the base. So it looks complicated, but when you break it down into the individual bits you actually mess with, it's not as complicated as it.
Yeah, you're basically ever messing with like one little bit of it at a time. So most of this will even be hidden. Like for most of the time when animating it, I'd just be, oh wow, now actually I do need all of those.
Yeah, Salem looks even more complicated because she's got all the weird things going on with her leg and her cape in the background. Turn off Cape Master, Guy.
Hang on, Cape Master will do. Nope. Cape Master. Okay, yeah, that for example, this is usually what things will look like when I'm animating them most of the time, and then I just can go into detail further when fixing things.
Also, Salem's rig is much, much more complicated than a lot of them because she's got her weird leg set up and she's got her cape. Yeah, Violet Embers, it was based... I did have a look at the Dillingu rig and I sort of broke down how that worked and recreated a lot of the bits that I actually really liked, especially around the face.
Yeah.
and the prop bones and various other bits like that.
Now, let's get to the final thing, which is,
Yep.
well, second to last if we still have time, which is like, yeah, teasing
We got
mask.
17 minutes.
Yeah. So, here we had a...
You need to swap off
yep.
on both Discord and OBS.
Under a new position.
Proxy, you've said Steve. I don't know what by that because.
Oh, that's creator of
Oh.
Neon.
Okay.
Steve.
Creator of Neon.
Sorry, the stream is significantly behind for us, so we don't
Okay,
get
sure,
the
well-
exact.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
They found them.
The original
They
Paladin
found
by
the-
Keel Figgings. I wonder if that's the same one that. If that's where ours came from, I don't know.
Oh, cool things. Okay, fantastic. Then we can actually... Holy shit, we can actually finally credit him in Steel.
Well, if we do you mean the original Paladin that was used in RWBY and did Neon get it? That from them? I'm just not sure on that front. Right, the stream has come across,
Yeah.
so we can spoil some people for our next project.
The mask trailer. All right. So remember what I said a while ago. That was actually a setup, and with the Steel trailer, that the monochrome aesthetic, or mostly monochrome aesthetic, it's very easy to make it look good, even when you're a relative beginner. The mask trailer is not that. In the slightest, we went for an aesthetic that is very difficult to make look good. We got actual concept art for this one, which was first. This one was made years ago. Same guy who designed Tanger, Thigh Blake. Actually, I'll write his name down in the. Wait, no, you guys won't even see for a while. Yeah, THY Blake. All together. I recommend checking out his art. He is incredible. He is so good. And yeah, we made a mood board. I'll show that in a second. And he made this. Now the problem with this is a painting. 3D animation is not a painting. Making 3D animation look like a painting is extremely hard. That happens and this is a big problem in just even the film industry, for example. And this is finally why I had concept art from Rise of Skywalker lying around here, because when you look at a lot of the concept art, it looks gorgeous. Like there's a lot of really beautiful painterly stuff in here. Not all of them are great. Like I think this one looks amazing. Like some of them don't look as good, but like a lot of them look absolutely incredible. The final film, I don't think it's uncontroversial to say, has a few nice visuals, but most of the time it looks like ass. And I think part of that, I mean, there are many reasons for that, but I think a large part of that was because there's a bit of a disconnect between the concept arts and the actual VFX, like the actual 3D. There isn't like a very... It's like the concept art never really ends up looking like the final thing, which is fine if the final...
This is why we need more 2D animation. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we need more like painted matte paintings because it's
Hello, Axel.
still difficult to replace them. And yeah, so where was I? Right. So we actually want the final thing to look as good as this. So we tried some painterly effects. First, this was like the current basic shading from one of the shots in here. I'll just turn off the music. The music is the only ones. The song, it's an original song, is on our channel. You can listen to it if you want. Shameless plug number 2. Right. This is like a low poly model of Tanger.
Plug is shameless.
Yeah. Low poly model of Tangor and a prototype of the stage.
Yeah, so it's not supposed to be the final look. Like, especially, we already have a much better looking version of Tangor. But the stage is... right now, we don't have a much better looking version of that. And, like, the modeling, the shapes are all good. But the shading, the actual visuals, are very much not up to snuff. But we can't go into detail as we did in Steel because, first, again, this stage is bigger. It would melt the computer again. And 2, the vibe doesn't fit. Like, the very high detail, harsh vibe worked really well for Steel because, like, it was that very specific aesthetic. This is a much more painterly aesthetic, and it just that high level of detail just does not work. So we've tried several different things. We've tried a shader that makes things kind of like half transparent and tried to make them look kind of painterly. It looks terrible. It looks absolutely dreadful. And for ages, this was literally the best we had.
Yep.
Very recently, like a few days ago, while I was learning something unrelated, we made a breakthrough. And we managed to use the grease pencil, which is basically just drawing in 3D space. Once this loads,
Why is it taking so long?
this should be loading. Come on. Don't
pause it. Just
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
I'll
re-up. Hang on.
Something is going to break.
I'll re-upload this. This will only take a moment. In the meantime, we'll take a look at the file.
Difficulties again.
In the meantime, you can just listen to Warlord sing.
Okay. In the meantime, we'll just open. Oh right, we need to swap back over to Blender. Stream. Okay, so under capture, transition.
The stream has ended.
This is the wrong file. Fantastic.
Wrong file.
Why do we even have that?
Oh,
file?
the leprechaun.
Okay.
That is a running joke in CRS, partially because I keep because I draw things. I keep accidentally drawing stuff on the wrong layer every now and again.
Wrong layer.
Some people in the group are very big fans of that film.
You mean you?
No, I'm not a particularly big fan of the film, Guy. I just find that quote getting stuck in my head. It's not a bad film, it's a good film,
Okay.
but it's not one of my favorites.
And just like that, the thing is actually working now.
Oh.
Of course!
Well, you guys already know what it looks like, so I'll just switch this over to...
Yeah.
There we go. You guys should be able to see it now. Yeah, so this is currently what the shot looks like. Still far from perfect. There's still a lot that we need to do. First, the trees are supposed to be cherry blossoms, so the color is all wrong. And I don't know how to change the color with the way that we drew this. Honestly, I literally just started using the grease pencil. I don't know how it works very well yet, so there's a lot of errors.
It was literally 2 days ago that he sent this to us, so this is a first very rough pass, but it does seem like a good sort of way of going about this.
Yeah, and so this really, I mean, this is a big departure from RWBY style, really. Like, this is very, way more painterly than they usually go. But we do.
There are reasons for it.
Yeah, like we do want to experiment with different styles over the course of Pitch's various trailers. Like, in part, it is because we're still exploring.
When it comes to style, there is one that we are really scared of doing, but really looking forward to having done, which is the last trailer you're ever going to see.
Yes.
Well, last trailer you're going to see out of this run, which will be called the Ink trailer.
Yes.
And oh my god, our plans for that would have us in cold sweat, but also very excited.
Oh, but yeah, so
actually, is that our last one?
You're making me excited just by talking about it.
It's going to be our last one.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so
what one of our trailers doesn't have a name yet?
But yeah,
as far as I know.
So we like, in part, we are exploring the style that we're gonna give Pitch once we go beyond this, however that's gonna look. But in part is we want each of the trailers to feel unique, in its in various ways, both story wise, tone, because obviously this has a completely different vibe than Steel, in many ways. But yeah, like just visually, and so we're going for a painterly effect. I'm gonna swap us over to Blender now again.
And Claw has a different one again. Claw's going. I'm going to have to look into some 2D animation stuff for what I want to do with Claw.
So yeah, this is what this currently looks like from a different angle. Obviously, we only really painted this tiny bit. Like, we're going to need to actually paint the rest of the surface. Currently, what's going on is, oh god, now this is loading all of this in. We have all of these models right here. Which, yeah. Sorry, 3D stuff takes a while.
Did you actually take the waterfall I made and just put it in here? I can't remember if we changed it at all.
No, this is still the same waterfall.
It's
a different scene, but I think we took the splash effects over.
But yeah, so
you will note from this how long it takes to load up one of these files. This is why we generally don't work with the colors on if we can avoid it.
Also, is this still missing something? This, like the thing she's standing on.
Array.
Yeah, the thing she's standing on is missing, but yeah, I don't know what's going on here. That doesn't really matter. We don't have the time for that. But yeah, so
It'll be an actual terrain, the top one, Gay.
what's in actual terrain. That makes sense. Let's just activate all of this. There we go.
So yeah,
So this is
that's what she's actually standing on at this point.
yeah, and what we're probably going to do is basically paint over all of this. This is going to take a while, but hopefully not as much as I fear. There are a few shortcuts. I'm going to paint over the trees, and hopefully this will have a much nicer look by the end. Also, oh yeah, the sun. I really like the sun.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
the
put a
sun
lot
is
of effort
very
into the
nice.
sun.
Yeah, so it's just really adding to that painterly vibe. And oh boy, I'm so guys, the master is going to be so cool. I mean, we've got first the audio drama already. We've got some incredible voice actors. Cosmo is a fantastic voice actress. Just you guys wait to hear her.
Oh my god, thank
And-
you. You're about to make me start crying in front of all these people.
See, she's doing it right now. It's
Yeah,
yeah, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
everyone else is very like the voice actors for Mask are. I mean, the recording sessions were incredible. The voice lines are incredible. Like all of this. I am so excited. We've got some great fight animation on this as well. Like a few animators who've collaborated, a few animators who are going to collaborate, in the future. Yeah, like Mask. It's. I was hoping to have Mask done around now. It is very far from done. Very far. Hopefully, it'll be done in another
we've had a
year.
lot of other things come out
Yeah.
of the woodwork
But like,
that
Yeah.
have
once
taken up both of our time.
yeah, once Mask is done, in most ways, it will blow Steel out of the water. Visually, we'll see. As in terms of visually,
Yeah.
I'm still not convinced it will. But in terms of story, writing, animation, music,
And
it'll
literally, because we have water effects now.
yeah, like it's gonna be so much better. I honestly, Tanger is such
Like
a
always,
yeah,
I
like,
plan to start on the models for Claw pretty much
Yes.
as soon as possible. Once I've
Yeah.
finished refining these guys, you'll see how this model for Tango is covered in loads of black lines. That's because she's a bunch of separate objects stuck to a skeleton rather than an actual model at this point.
And yeah, see, and yeah, just I love Tanger as a character so much, which is part of why I went overboard and writing her backstory, like, and her story, and then it kind of spawned off a bunch of other characters that I also fell in love with.
Right. I think we only have about 4 minutes left if it cuts off by time rather than actual duration. If it cuts off by duration, we've got 19 minutes left. But was there anything else that you wanted to show?
I think
Gabe?
I mean, there is one more thing, which we just about have time for this. Okay, so we've made
You're
a
gonna
bunch
have to
of
swap over to browser if I
yes,
remember.
we've made a bunch of original songs for Pitch and are still making them. They don't have as many views as I think they should, considering the incredibly
They
talented
really
people
should
working
have
on
more
this.
views. You're
Yeah.
amazing.
So if
Yeah,
you
there's-
haven't listened to the songs yet, I have homework for you, which is go and listen to them right now.
That's my line.
No, people don't like homework.
Okay, well, seriously, like these people are. I mean, I'm so lucky to have had them working on this. I mean, Luca was
Yes.
one of them. There were others. It's so I'm going to play what is I think like the latest Pitch song made and the best one. And if it gets cut off, then well, at least you've listened to part of it. And I'm just gonna let it play because yeah, you guys should go listen to these songs.
If you don't let it play now, it's gonna cut off.
Shit. Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It can be like a paywall, but for your time.
To be perfectly honest, by the time the stream catches up, it might have.
That is entirely possible. We'll say.
Let's not speak during the
Swap
song.
Discord over.
Oh,
Oh.
sorry. Yeah.
Right, yeah. That's the
We got
song
through it
for
all.
the
Hey.
final trailer.
Somebody play
biggest-
the applause sound effect.
I would say that that's for one of my favorite characters, but I can't really choose favorite characters because there's so many.
You look, I mean, we have like 50 characters total in Pidge. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, and the problem is I keep adding new characters.
Oh god, let's not even go into Ruddock right now.
We're not
Actually,
going into Ruddock.
we actually
Ruddock will start before she even appears.
we actually had have to end the stream, I think, because otherwise Minos will get mad. So hey, thank you guys so much for showing up. This was a ton of
Yep.
fun.
No, it's over. Oh no.
I mean, we can honestly, we haven't done a stream in ages. But, like, there's nothing stopping us from doing more streams on our own channel.
Yeah.
So if people want to do that more, like now we've got the setup here, we've got OBS.
Well, I'll have to adjust the thing because this
Oh,
thing
yeah.
does have SMMR of RWBY Plus
True,
all over it.
true,
but
true.
Yeah. You
Well,
can make the
I can
most
set it
of
up so
Will's
that
work.
that appears on the stream now, which will be useful.
Yeah, and if you guys enjoyed it, let us know, and we'll do more streams like this.
Yep.
Possibly because there's a lot more stuff that we could have talked about that we didn't. So there's
Yeah.
there's plenty of stream material, definitely.
And honestly, us only being limited by this time is probably a good thing because Guy and I have a tendency to overshare and spoil things.
yeah, we do.
Also, I believe there was one thing that the chat mentioned, specifically Mari in there. I think it was just blame Guy. So Guy, it's all your fault.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, it's usually is. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
even when it isn't.
Oh, one thing I will leave you with. Pitch has well, we say it's unofficial, but at this point it's pretty much an official motto, which is go big, then go cry in a corner. We have a
Yeah.
tendency to put in far too much ambition and then cry as we are achieving it.
But we still do
So we do it most of the time.
it.
We're gonna go
It
big
might-
and then we're gonna go cry our hearts out because God,
just might
oh my
take
God,
quite
I'm
a
so
while.
pain.
Yeah, but it
Anyway,
it's like I do love our level of ambition because we start things that if we were no one in their right mind would actually start them, but somehow we have to do it, and so we do, and then we like achieve things that we didn't think we could.
Yeah,
this
you're
is
definitely ambitious.
though it doesn't show up in pitch, it's technically in some ways canon to it. I have written 2.5 millennia of history for Remnant in my spare time. So yeah, ambition is
Yeah. Okay.
Mari, if you want to go small and still cry, that's fine.
Yeah, we don't shame you if you're crying, whether how big or small you are.
Yeah, listen, if you're a little smaller than everyone else, it's okay. Everyone cries like a little bitch at the end of the day.
Warlords are a little smaller than the rest of us.
Guys,
Well,
we are
well-
actually running over. We actually
Yeah,
let's
okay.
just agree to do another stream soon where we air all of the stuff
Yeah.
that we didn't get to talk
And
about
we
here.
might see about getting in some other guests from around CRS. I don't know.
Oh yes,
maybe.
please. I mean, hopefully Luca will actually be able to join next time.
Yes.
And
He's going to wake up and think, oh, I've got to get to the stream and be really disappointed.
yeah. But
Yeah. He's
Anyway.
gonna be so upset.
anyway, guys, if you
Anyway,
like Steel,
bye.
read the short stories, listen to the
Bye-bye.
songs, and
You better
Yeah.
listen to the songs. They're amazing.
I
But
yeah.
I will hunt you down and I will slay all of you.
No, now she's in character.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this was so much
Bye.
fun, guys. Thank you so much for this. Let's do this again. And